Today we're starting The Giver. The Giver is a dystopian novel written by Lois Lowry. Remember that dystopia is the opposite of utopia. Utopia is the perfect world, whereas dys, meaning not, means not perfect. So as we read, think about how Jonah's world is not perfect. And as we read, we'll be talking about these study questions. So follow along with those nearby and be ready to pause when it's time to write some notes. So, Chapter 1. It was almost December and Jonas was beginning to be frightened. No, wrong word, Jonas thought. Frightened meant that deep, sickening feeling of something terrible about to happen. Frightened was the way he had felt a year ago when an unidentified aircraft had overflown the community twice. He had seen it both times. Squinting towards the sky, he had seen the sleek jet, almost a blur at its high speed, go past, and a second later heard the blast of the sound that followed. Then, one more time, a moment later, from the opposite direction, the same plane. So in The Giver, in the society or the community of the giver, they pay very particular attention to words. And as we read, we'll see some words that are used in new or strange ways, especially titles of things. So here's the word frightened. What does Jonas think frightened means? Yeah, he thinks that it's a deep, sickening feeling of something terrible about to happen. So here, using the word frightened, we can see that foreshadowing is about to take place, that something big is going to happen in Jonas's life, and this is going to change him. So let's continue. At first, he had been only fascinated. So he's talking about the plane. He had never seen aircraft so close. It was against the rules for pilots to fly over the community. Occasionally, when supplies were delivered by cargo planes to the landing field across the river, the children rode their bicycles to the riverbank and watched, intrigued, the unloading and then the takeoff directed to the west, always away from the community. But the aircraft a year ago had been different. It was not a squat, fat-bellied cargo plane, but a needle-nosed, single-pilot jet. Jonas, looking around anxiously, had seen others, adults as well as children, stop what they were doing and wait, confused, for an explanation of the frightening event. So in this paragraph, we can start to see the community that Jonas lives in. We see that there are a lot of rules, and the rules are there to protect people and to keep things quiet and calm. And we can tell that it's quiet and calm because pilots can't fly over the community. We see that there's a river. Rivers often stand for calmness. Also, children riding their bicycles. So the idea of children being able to ride their bicycles here and there means it's safe. Not like Cairo where there's a lot of cars and a lot of honking. It's this very calm and peaceful place. However, the aircraft makes us really nervous. So the supply aircraft is fat, but this is a needle-nosed jet, the type that's used in war. So it's very confusing for Jonas. Then, all the citizens had been ordered to go to the nearest building and stay there. Immediately, the rasping voice through the speakers had said, "Leave your bicycles where they are." Instantly, obediently, Jonas had dropped his bike on its side on the path behind his family's dwelling. He had run indoors and stayed there alone. His parents were both at work, and his little sister Lily was at the child care center where she spent her after school hours. So from this paragraph, we learn that this is a place with many rules, but people obey the rules without question, right? It said all the citizens had been ordered to go into the nearest building and stay there immediately, right? This is important that it's in big words because it's a strong order. And instantly, obediently, this shows that Jonas does not think of disobeying, of doing something else. He just does what he is told, as does everyone else. So we know that this is a place with a lot of rules, and it's a place that's very calm and safe, and also a place where not many new things happen. Looking through the front window, he had seen no people, right? Because everyone follows the rules. None of the busy afternoon crew of street cleaners, landscape workers, and food delivery people who usually populated the community at that time of day. He saw only the abandoned bikes here and there. On their sides, an upturned wheel on one was still revolving slowly. He had been frightened then. The sins of his own community, silent, waiting, had made his stomach churn. He had trembled. So here we see that his stomach is feeling upset from worry, and he's also shaking. Trembled means to shake. It had been nothing. Within minutes, the speakers had crackled again, and the voice, reassuring now and less urgent, had explained that a pilot in training had misread his navigational instructions and made a wrong turn. Desperately, the pilot had been trying to make his way back before his error was noticed. Needless to say, he will be released, the voice had said following the sentence. There was an ironic tone to that final message, as if the speaker found it amusing. And Jonas had smiled a little, though he knew what a grim statement it had been. For a contributing citizen to be released from the community was a final decision, a terrible punishment, an overwhelming statement of failure. So here we can see that the community obeys when they're told to go inside, and we have a pilot who's making a mistake. And the result of making a mistake is very harsh. It's this term to be released. We don't know what released means yet, but we do know that it's a terrible punishment. It's a final decision and an overwhelming statement of failure. Like to be released because of an error is the worst thing that a person can do.